Hey friends, we are looking at the USS Arizona. This is a set from IMEX Model Company, and it's set number IMEX 38222 with 1,075 pieces. I want to thank IMEX Model Company for sending this to me to review and build. I appreciate that. And we're going to look at this ship in more detail, and we're going to zoom in and look at some of the features. There's some planes in the back here. We'll take a look at those too. And before we do that, we'll talk about the ship itself. The ship was in service from 1915 to 1941. It was sunk in Pearl Harbor in 1941 when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. It had about 1,000 to 1,500 crew, and in the attack, 1,177 crew members lost their lives, and over 900 of those crew members are entombed in the memorial that was created around the ship. And I have an image here of the memorial that they built above the ship. So what you're seeing here is like a bridge-like structure, and you take a boat to get there, and then it holds about 200 people. And this memorial sits above the actual ship. And looking at this, this is the front of the ship, and here is the rear of the ship. And what is peeking out of the ground right there is this gun in the back here. So there's 4 primary guns, and this one right here, if you take that off, that's what's poking out of the water there. And as a special part of that memorial, I believe it's this mast right here that has an American flag on it, and it's the mast that you see right here. It's not attached to this memorial, it's actually attached to the Arizona itself. And I looked into it, and this is actually floating, and it's anchored, this particular memorial. It's not touching the Arizona in any way. All right, so that's some background, some history there. I was lucky enough to visit this memorial a couple times in my life, and I gotta say it was quite moving. And there's definitely a sense of reverence when you go and you visit it because of what happened there, and because it is essentially it's a resting place, final resting place for over 900 of those that lost their lives in the Arizona attack. Take a look. Let's zoom in a little bit, look at some of the details. Okay, so disclaimer, I don't know that much about ships, so please forgive me if I get some of the terminology wrong. I haven't actually built a model ship since maybe I was 13 years old, so this is the first one that I built in a long time, any kind of ship. So even Lego, I don't think I've built a ship of any substance since I was maybe 13 years old. All right, so up here at the front, here are the chains. They're actually individually movable chains. And if you watched my unboxing video, you'll know that the chains actually came on sprues, which was a little unusual. You've got anchors here, and these chains are for the anchors. We've got a flag. These decorations are stickers. The flag feels to me oversized for the model. So it's a little bit unusual. I did like the shaping here. For 1,000 pieces, it's a really long model. I want to say it's 2 feet, almost 2 feet long. And what they've done is it's all brick built straight upwards. There's no snot building at all. And it's mostly hollow inside. And so it comes together very, very fast, like shockingly fast. You suddenly have a structure. By the end of bag 1, I felt like I built almost all of it. So they did a good job building it up very, very quickly. And also creating the delineation from the light gray to the to this dark red. And then they did have to do a sticker right here in front, and that is actually a sticker in order to create that line and that delineation right there on that particular part. So they did that with the sticker, and I thought it was clever how they did that. Let me see if I have the sticker here. Here's the sticker sheet. So you'll see it's got this like shaping, and then you essentially wrap it around this piece, and that's how you accomplish it. It's kind of cool. You're seeing a couple colors here. So this is light gray, and then up here is light tan. And the light tan is laid out in a way that it almost looks like wood decking. So they intentionally used a lot of different pieces, and they're all running front to back in order to create that effect. And then you've got your primary guns. All the primary main guns, they do move. They're not ratcheted. I thought at first they might be ratcheting, but they just are free swiveling. And then you've got secondary guns in quite a few places. And I thought that maybe there was a Technic build when I saw all of these Technic pieces, these Technic bricks. But honestly, or actually what they've done is they've used the Technic pieces to stand in for portholes. So they're probably wildly out of scale, but it's actually a nice effect, and it kind of works. Looking upwards, this is the superstructure. So the section where the bridge is, other things are all up in here. Very important functions are up in this area where they've got the better, higher visibility. Communications, I think, are also in this area. And then moving backwards, you'll see, I'm not 100% sure what this structure is. I wasn't able to figure that out. If you do know, please leave it in a comment. And then there is another structure right here. And I want to say this is the fire lookout. So it's manned, and this is where they station folks to spot fires on the ship and other areas. And then you're seeing one of the two cranes right here. So these cranes, my understanding is these are the cranes that help lift the planes out of the water. So this ship has two planes on here, and this is not an aircraft carrier, but what these planes do are they're scouting planes, and they are mounted to catapults. And so you turn these in the direction you want it to launch, and then the plane is catapulted off. And when it comes back and it lands, I believe it lands in the water. And then one of these cranes, either one of these two or maybe the one in the back, lifts it out of the water and resets it back on the catapult. So this is unusual that one of the catapults is actually on a primary gun. So I think that's a clever use of space too. So you turn it, and then boom, you can launch the plane off of it. The build on the planes are they're okay too. They're not bad. I think I would have used a different piece for the cockpit like canopy. But the rest of it reads like a plane, a very basic plane, so not too bad. But I thought that was fascinating. And they've got just lots and lots of detail right in here. You see all these things that are built upside down for different detail. Now, there were a couple of build techniques that I thought were a little bit fragile. For example, where this mast meets the bottom of the this elevated structure, I mean, it's barely held in by a portion of a anti-stud. I mean, if I touch it, it'll fall right off. And there's all these additional ones that are meant to, in real life, there's additional either, I don't know what you'd call it. Is it rigging or support that keeps these things anchored where they need to be? And they're quite finicky to get in just the right place too. So it's almost like a tripod effect. And you have that too with the back of the superstructure. You'll see that it's a little bit of like a triangular format there too. So those got a little bit finicky, but was able to work through it. I like the use of these. These are called the headlight kind of bricks. And so they've put them in reverse, and so that you get to see those nice square elements to make it look as though they're windows or doorways or something looking out, which is clever. And then moving towards the back, you can see that we've got, it says Arizona, and we've got propellers here as well. Now, my wife pointed out that there's no way they would have used a serif font for the boat. And I looked, and sure enough, it is a sans serif, almost like a collegiate font that they had used. And this is the back of the ship. You can see here the propellers. And so not only did they use the wrong font, but they put them in the wrong place. So it should be way closer to the back here, and it should be a different font. So that's kind of a strange, I don't know, it's a strange miss from a company that specifically makes models. And this company, the bricks were provided by a company called Oxford. It's a Korean company that's been around since the 60s. They've been making model kits. So you would think that accuracy and detail are their bread and butter. They should be extremely good at it. So it's a very strange kind of miss that's where that is. So that's unfortunate, but just leave it off or ignore it if you want to. It's brick built. If you really want super high accuracy, go get a plastic model kit instead. These are a little bit finicky too, the cranes, but they are posable, so you can turn them, you can move them. I don't know if it would reach down into the water. I don't think it. Well, it almost could. So anyway, I'm sure in real life the cranes are also articulated in multiple positions, but you'll see here there's this little this fire hose, I think, piece on the end of it, which might explain why they chose this for the canopy, because you could potentially take the airplane and you could connect it to the crane. As a matter of fact, let's try it. There you go. So you can almost do that if you were trying to simulate it being lifted out of the water. So yeah, you kind of could do it. So that might explain why they used a 1x1 stud there for the canopy. Okay, so here is a minifigure for scale, just to give you a sense for how big this ship is. It did come with the brick-built stands, front and rear, which is nice to get it off the ground. I do recommend this set. I enjoyed building it. It took me back to some of the great memories I had visiting the memorial. I just enjoyed being able to build a ship so large with not a lot of pieces. So 1,075 pieces went a long way. Looking at it, I would have guessed this would have been a lot more pieces, but they were very efficient with the use of the bricks to build something that came together and had this kind of size and presence. So if you're looking for a ship that you can put on the shelf and it immediately is recognizable as the Arizona, and maybe you don't have the skill or the patience to build a full plastic model kit, then this is a great choice, and it's a good value as well. I do have one more photo to show you, which is this one. This is a 3D illustration of what this looks like with the memorial over it and what is remaining of the ship. And then there's continual oil leaks that were leaking from one of the hatches in the back. So that's something that you can see from the memorial. All right, so that's just kind of the layout of what you're seeing if you were to ever visit. Have you visited the Arizona before? Leave me a comment. Let me know if you have. My friends Curtis and Chris have also reviewed a model of the Arizona from a different brand, and so I will link to that either in the description or in this video. But if you like the video, please hit like, subscribe if you can. It helps me continue to bring interesting sets. And again, I want to thank IMEX model company too for sending this to me. All right, thanks so much.